Hey guys, I'm Jax, a non-book boy, and this is my non-book boy review of The Wheel of Time Season 3, Episode 4. Sometimes when you start an episode, you just know you're in for something special, and oh boy, was that the case with this episode of Wheel of Time. Something I absolutely love in epic sprawling fantasy series is how many different storylines there are in different locations, and they don't have to kind of interact that often, there's just so much going on. But something I also love is when a show that is that sprawling decides to focus in, narrow down, and give us one storyline, one plot, for one full episode. In this episode, we get Rand, Moiraine, and Aviendha diving into the depths, the foggy depths of the mysterious, mystical past and futureness of Rhuidean. Rhuidean? Rhuidean? I love pretty much everything in this episode. I thought it was absolutely spectacular. I had so much fun watching it. I had so much fun, in fact, that I did a big live reaction review, which I'd love to link in the description, but it got copyright stricken. That's why I didn't release my review when the episode came out, and it's going to be like a day late, because I spent all night trying to get it not copyright stricken. I don't know, it was my first React video, and I was so excited. It was such a big, exciting, crazy episode. But yeah, so that probably will never come out. Or maybe it will, but yes. I love not sleeping. It's super exciting and fun, especially when nothing comes of it. And you're like, wow, I drank a lot of Coca-Cola last night and maybe one too many beers. But let's move past that and get to the exciting stuff. This episode packed so much of a punch visually. It was such a unique, interesting aesthetic. I love before they even get to Rhuidean, there's this giant wall of spears, like some kind of symbolic, no one goes past here. Like, it's just such a beautiful, visceral, scary kind of image. Kind of beautiful, kind of haunting. And when they first rock up, they're like, you can't take your weapons beyond this point. And they're all like taking all their weapons out, putting it down the ground. And at first I'm like, hot damn, is that like spears of all the people who like haven't come back, and they put their spear there and I'm like, I'll be right back, missus. And then they don't come back, and then missus has a baby and she's crying. They're both crying. The baby is also crying. But I think I was mistaken, and it's just a very cool, symbolic kind of wall situation. Absolutely loved how this episode was so packed and filled with lore and mythology, and we learnt so much about Rand's past, Moiraine's potential futures. We didn't really get much of Aviendha. She didn't get any time. We saw her with the big rings, and she was like, like screaming, and it's like a majestic, beautiful shot. Then it gets to a close-up, and she's like writhing in pain. You're like, whoa! I thought the trailer was implying that was quite a beautiful, mystical thing. No, it's torture. But Rand is the Harry Potter of this series, and I don't think he's really been given like an episode, like a moment to go, no, he's the main character. As I said, I love that there are so many main characters, and there are really 5 main characters, but he's like the main character. Like everyone else is the Hermiones and your Rons and stuff, but he's the main character. You got to give Frodo / Harry Potter / a third example their time. And that's what I loved about this episode. I love that he gets like 45 minutes of flashbacks. Moiraine gets like 35 seconds of spinning, disorientating, discombobulating, just rotating flash forwards of potential multiverses of all the times that so many different things will happen. Mostly Lanfear slitting her throat. It's not even Lanfear killing her in all these different ways. Lanfear's like, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to slit your throat with a knife. Like, she just loves to do like the one thing. There's like a million thousand different possible futures for Moiraine. But if we're being honest, it's like 90% Lanfear killing her and like 89% Lanfear killing her with a knife, slitting her throat. So Rand gets 45 minutes, Moiraine gets 25 seconds of getting killed a bunch of times, and Aviendha, well, she's not really a main character. She's not even a Hermione or Ron main character. She's like Fred or George, you know? Like, you like them, they're great characters, but like, I don't actually care. And if we're doing a TV series about cutting stuff out of the books, we don't have time. Speaking of not having time, I got too excited about stepping into Rhuidean. I had so much to say about before they got in there. Mostly to do with Moiraine's hat. She's got this hat, this kind of bohemian farmer's wife, but like rich, like if like a rich girl was going to like shop at like a thrift shop, but like a rich thrift shop where it's not actually like an op shop where you've given $2 clothes away. It's like they pretend it's that, but it's actually really expensive clothes. And like a rich kind of sorority girl's like, I want something that makes me look like I'm like a quaint, like a peasant girl for a party. And that's what she bought, and it cost her $320. That's the hat Moraine has, and I love it because I like the idea. Moraine's like, I've got to go into hiding. No blue for me anymore. Even though I look good in blue, don't I? It really just makes everything just pop. I said pop, and I'm like, that feels a bit... What I'm trying to say is she looks good in blue with the face. But she's like, I gotta go plain. I gotta dress down. And so she finds the most ridiculous looking hat. I love it. I laughed every time I saw it. It was utterly delightful. I'm pretty sure it rocked up in other episodes. I just didn't have time because there was 3 episodes. You know, there's only so much fashion talk I can have. I think I'll commit 2 to 3 minutes of fashion talk per review, and then I got to move on to like the plot. We also get some beautiful stuff with Lan and Rand, and they're both like doing some sword fighting and stuff, and God, they look cool and sexy, and it's just cool. They're both giving each other little bits of words of wisdom, and Egwene's like, God, Rand's the best, and Moraine's like, we've got to cage the beast, and she's like, what the fuck you want, Moraine? Don't touch Rand, and she's like, I won't. But she might. We also find out the Avianda isn't just a warrior, spear warrior lady all the time. She's actually a wise woman, which is the mystical ladies, or the healers, you know, like they do the magic or whatever, I think. I'm not sure. Not a warrior, though. And she wants to be a warrior, and I respect that. She's going all Arya on this, and yeah, that was kind of sad. It's like a cool fight scene where she's like, no swords in here. And I'm like, I don't get that yet. Isn't a spear a sword? Which later on I'll find out was a naive and stupid thing to say. But that's why we're all here, to learn things about lore and mythology of the Wheel of Time universe. Like the fact that a sword can't do other things apart from doing sword stuff. But a spear can. A spear can kill a boar or get a fish in a river. But to be fair, I feel like if I had a sword, if I didn't have a sword and I was trying to catch a fish, I wouldn't do very well. If I had a sword, I could still like poke and like maybe not as efficiently. Like the wood is probably better, but the sword I still feel like would be better. Like if a boar's coming at me and I need to eat, I would rather a sword than not. I just feel like semantics of like what's a weapon and what's like a weapon / tool. I just don't get it. So Avianda does a cool sword fight, and her and Lan like, and I really think that they kind of put their budget, or like their stuntman kind of choreography budget, into the Aiel, and I kind of appreciate that because it's kind of cool to have when like they're like, these are the badass warriors, they're the OG sword guys. Sorry, they're the OG spear guys. They're the fighty guys, you know. That you want them to actually feel like they are better than everyone else. Well, at least better than most. Like, her and Lan can be good enough, but like a general soldier, I feel like should just be like, block, you know, like Skyrim, like Skyrim kind of mechanics. But then you want the Aiel to be like Arkham Asylum kind of mechanics, with like dodge, duck, weave, do the splits, in the face, like kind of more kind of aerodynamic. And I think for the most part, they do a really good job with that. So they have a big fight and it's all cool and stuff. And then they're like, no more fighting. You're going to be a witch lady. And she's like, dang it. And I was like, that's actually pretty sad. Like just someone who doesn't want to do what they want to do, but maybe the wheel's going to spin them to the prophecy or whatever. I feel like I was trying to tie those things in because it's like, that's what the episode's about. It's like accepting your fate, accepting prophecy, accepting what you are chosen to do by the time of wheel, the wheel of time. Which I thought was quite an interesting kind of connective tissue of the 3 plots. Like Avianda doesn't want to be a witch lady, but she's got to be a witch lady. The magic spoke to her and touched her, and now she's got to do it. And like, you just got to like do it. And like, she went off, like she did a gap year. And like she was like traveling for a bit and she was trying to find the chosen one or whatever. But she's going to come home now and become a doctor because her mum wants her to become a doctor. And then Rand obviously going through his history, his flashbacks of lore and mythology or whatever, where he gets to wear a bunch of wigs and makeup and just do a whole bunch of acting, and it's real good stuff. And like he finds out, hey, this is all kind of destiny and maybe I just got to embrace my destiny. But then on the flip side, you got Moraine, who's seeing the future or potential futures, and she's like, maybe I don't want to get my throat slit by Lanfear. So like, maybe I'm not going to like, embrace my prophecy, embrace my future, embrace my destiny. The other two are like, I gotta do my destiny. I gotta do my destiny. And Moraine's like, fuck my destiny. I'm not gonna get my throat slit by Lanfear. I want that one where me and Lanfear were kissing, but then she started choking her before it like flipped around, and I was like, ooh, sexy times. That choking, you can have sexy choking. It didn't feel sexy. It felt like angry choking. It's like the one time, it's like Doctor Strange being like, there was one time that Lanfear killed you a different way and it was in bed strangling you. It was kind of sexy. I was trying to do a Benedict Cumberbatch voice, but I bailed like before I did it, so I don't even know what kind of voice that was. In a lot of ways, it was probably nothing. Okay, I feel like I've talked enough about the 15-minute epic cold open. It was, that's another thing. Like, when I didn't realize at first it was going to be a full bottle episode, like just this one plot, until that moment where like it went to black, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? Wheel of Time, opening titles, and you're like, what the hell? We're like 20 minutes into this episode. That is a crazy place to put the opening titles. And that's when you know it's going to be a banger of an episode. When way too late into the episode, there's suddenly... Okay, so let's talk Rhuidean. Rhuidean? I'm not getting it right, am I? Rhuidean. Let's talk the fog city of clouds or smoke or whatever. I feel like Moraine had a really good name for it. She's like, it's the city in the clouds. And I was like, that was like on the tip of my tongue. But I kept looking at it being like, it's like a fog city of smoke and stuff. And then she's like, it's the city in the clouds. And I'm like, God, she's so poetic. Just like, you know when someone just like says something and they just kind of like, just so poetic and like they just have a way with words. And you're like, I can barely speak good. It annoys me. It annoys me, especially as someone who, and this will surprise everyone, loves to talk. It just kind of annoys me when someone's so much better at saying the words than I am. So I thought there was some really interesting visuals in the Rhuidean city, the city of smokes and fogs and stuff, like just having that eerie smoke and fog go everywhere. It's always great to have a character who's super mystical and magical, who kind of walks into situations being like, I'm in control of the situation, and Moraine is that character. She's our Gandalf. There's a lot of references to other things in this, I realize, but I haven't slept, and that's just where my brain is right now. And like, I was going to call her McGandalf. That's nothing. Moraine is like our character who kind of knows what's up. So when you have her step in there and she's like, I do not like this fog. What's going on? And I'm like, what do you mean? You don't know what the fog is? And at first I thought it was going to be time travel fog, where the fog would hit them. They'd be like, oh, I'm time traveling into the history and lore of my past blood ancestors, which is cool. Blood ancestor. It's like a cool way to kind of be like, it's not your ancestor. It's like you. It's like your ancestor, your reincarnation, your turn of the wheel or whatever they call. Just really exciting stuff. I also think it's really clever to make Rand, like, I don't know, maybe this is in the books where it's like, they look similar each time. I kind of figured it wasn't, because he doesn't look the same as the last Dragon Reborn. But maybe the Dragon Reborn is kind of separate, like it's like a prophecy thing that's like boom, boom, boom. And then Rand's incarnations like aren't just the Dragon Reborns, and he's got his own thing separate. Are the hands working to show what I'm trying to say? They're not, are they? So I'm unsure if that's like a book thing or if that's a choice the show has made so that like the actor of Rand can have time to kind of flex his muscles, and it's kind of an easy, quick visual shortcut to be like, that's him, that's the guy we're following, that's the guy, like that's his past blood ancestor. It's Rand, but he's got makeup on and stuff. I think the first one kind of tricked me for a second, where I'm like, he's running around, he was his dad, and he's stabbing people, and he's like, and it was the same scene we got from the start of, well, the end of season 1, which is probably the best action scene we got. It was probably the best scene in season 1. So exciting. Just a cool visual of all the snow with the blood, and the Aiel warriors, as I said, doing their cool Batman Arkham Asylum kind of fighting skills stuff. But yeah, absolutely love that first scene where he's running around and got the father got the 2 swords, been like, sorry, I said swords again, spears. He's got the 2 spears, and he's like, done the fighting and stuff. I don't need to do bad choreography. You know when I say good fighting, you're like, yeah, like the good fighting scene I saw. I know, you don't need to go, but I want to. I don't know what else to say. I'm excited. It's cool. I also think that was probably my favorite makeup for him. I just think he looked really good. Like, he looked super cool. Just the beard, the getup, the grizzled kind of like lots of freckled, grizzled kind of face. Like the old man one as well was like really cool. I was just like, oh, the makeup. Like, you can tell it's makeup. And when it's Rand, you can like, hear his voice coming through. Like, it's like if I'm doing an old man, like if you close your eyes and like, I'm the old man, you're not like, wow, who was that old man? You're like, that sounds like Jax doing a bad old man voice. Not to say Rand was doing a bad one. I was doing a bad one. Rand was doing an old man voice. And like I could tell. I could tell from the makeup that it wasn't like a real old man, but I liked it anyway. Throughout these flashbacks of lore and mythology, I feel like I'm going to focus on a couple of things. The things that I was confused about. Maybe not confused about, but just kind of like curious about. Because like throughout the episode, there's a magical tree. Oh yeah, like in Rhuidean, there's a big magical tree, the tree of life. And I'm like, I've seen that in everything else that's ever existed. Like, it reminds me of Avatar. I was thinking of Last Airbender, then I'm like, also Avatar. So it was like Avatar, a third example of something. Yeah, maybe not as many things with big trees of life, but yeah, it reminded me of stuff. I'm like, I've seen a big tree before. I get it. That's mystical and magical and very important. But what I was confused about, maybe not confused, but just a bit like, was like, there was like an orb, like a sphere. I was calling it the prophecy sphere of Orbs of Prophecy. Kind of looks like a prophecy thing, and this place is full of magic and mystical futures and past. So I'm like, maybe it's like a prophecy orb, and it sits in the tree of prophecy foreverness or whatever. And like, what's going on there? I don't know what it is. Like, is that good? Were they there to get that? Because there was a bit where Moraine kind of walks up to the tree, and she's like, no one's looking. She like looks for some cameras anywhere. She's like, no cameras, no drones. There's nothing going on. I think I'm in the clear to steal this. And she just yanks it, pockets it like a little thief, and she just sprints away. And I'm like, sneaking level unlocked, next level. I don't think I made that reference right. It was a Skyrim reference. It doesn't matter. If I wasn't so lazy, you could imagine the unlock, like the level, the next level, that sound, and you'd be like, oh, the sound from Skyrim. That was a good joke. But I'm not going to do that because, yeah, I was going to say it's so late. Oh my god, it's almost midday. oh dear. So yeah, what is that orb thing? Is it just like a magical weapon of doom? Like they're trying to get the sword from the fortress place? Like that's gonna stop the Forsaken? Is this just like a different type of thing? Where it's like they're gonna get a MacGuffin to do some MacGuffin stuff to kill the Forsaken? Is that what it is? Or is it something else? Because Moraine, I think she was trying to keep it secret because she like looked around and like, no one's watching me. So like she's not meant to steal it. But then it was an Aes Sedai who put it in there. So I was like, is she allowed to? She is an Aes Sedai. She's like one of the only good ones left. So I don't know. Curious about that. Also to do with the tree, very funny that Rand's ancestors like were so tied to the tree. Like everything's weaved together. Like Rand finding out that Moraine's dad is the reason that his mum is dead. And it's just like, whoa, that's small world, right? Very fun, very cool stuff. Just kind of hilarious to see how many times Rand's like past selves were just like hanging out with this little tree of magical destiny or whatever, and the little orb of whatever the fuck, and just being like, yeah, you gotta get it out of here, man. Like at the end, I loved how the flashbacks and when Rand just like, oh, I gotta get the force field of winds and stuff, and the big glass ice poles or whatever was going on, and he's like walking through them trying to like get closer to whatever, and it keeps cutting, and like the way he's walking, they'll like cut from that to like the flashback. And I love the one with the feet because he's got his little fantasy feet shoes on, and then it cuts to like really modern looking shoes. I was like, that's like a office man work modern day shoe. It blew my mind. I'm like, what am I about to see? If Rand is in an office and like doing a 9 to 5, I'm going to literally explode. But it wasn't as crazy because he didn't step into some kind of office situation or whatever. But we're in some kind of future, but it's not the future, it's the past, before the breaking. And they're like, get out of here. We're in the modern, well, it's like future, whatever. Confusing. It's the past, but it feels like a future. Like the end of season 1 had the last dragon talking with the last Aes Sedai, and they're like, we gotta kill the Dark One, he sucks. And she's like, I don't know, maybe we'll make it suck more. And he's like, it'll be fine. It wasn't. But then it like pans out of like the crib baby room, and there's like spaceships flying about, and it's like, oh my god, like the past was like super the future. That's crazy. I loved it. That was like the moment where I'm like, I love this show so very much. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. So we're in that time period where it's the past, but it feels like the future, and they're like, get out of here. Get out of here. on you, and there seems to be like a storm in the background. It kind of reminded me of seeing Mordor in the distance, like just fire and smoke, and yeah, so something was going on. And they're like, all these horses and carriages leave, and they're like, get the magical tree and the magical orb in the tree, get it out of here. And they just ride off in a horse and carriage. They don't have like a hover car, or even just like a normal car. They still got horses and carriages. I don't understand. Where are the spaceships? Someone explain it to me. Unless it's a spoiler, and then just go, oh, you'll find out later. And I'll be like, okay, cool. But if it's not a spoiler, explain it, please. Talking about the past, but it's the future, there's a scene where Rand's like, look at me, I got a big rat tail. He's got the disgusting long rat tail at the back, and I'm like, oh, that's a rat tail for the ages if I've ever seen one. Oh my lord. And he's talking with Lanfear, and Lanfear's like, it's me, I'm Lanfear. And I'm like, oh, it's Lanfear. Oh, I love Lanfear. Sorry, that's so cool. And then she's all like, we're going to give the magic to everybody, and everyone can have the magic. And he's like, that sounds crazy. I just want to be a farmer. I'm just a humble farmer. And I'm like, I feel like I'm not catching, I feel like I'm missing stuff. What's happening? And I know what you're thinking. You could have rewatched it. I did. I rewatched it while I was watching myself watch it. And which is never, frustrating. Oh my god, that's ruined my whole morning. What was I talking about? Lanfear. And so Lanfear is all like, we're going to give the magic to everybody, I think. I think that's what you were saying. And then I don't know what happened next, because he's farming and they're singing a song. And then the giant Death Star, well, sorry, it's white, so I suppose the giant Light Star explodes. It explodes. What was that? What was going on? Who owned the Light Star? Is that a good thing? Or I was overwhelmed. And then there's a giant rift crack in the universe or something, and there's something like flickering, and I'm like, is that the Dark One coming into the universe? Was this the breaking? Was that what I was watching? Because that was visually spectacular. And like seeing Rand be like, what the fuck? And like all the farmers are running. They were just humble farmers farming about. And then the Light Star exploded, and then the world exploded. Truly incredible. Potentially mildly too vague, but at the same time, I think it was just, like, nice that it was vague. Because I'm like, was that the Dark One? What's going on? But, like, I'm pretty sure. I'm, like, 90% sure it was the Dark One. But at the same time, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So maybe it's not. Yeah, truly exciting. Absolutely love that visual. When that Light Star rocked up, I lost my mind. I was like, I love seeing future sci-fi stuff in a fantasy olden days setting. It's just crazy to me. It's such a crazy combination and blend, and just, it's such a weird contrast. Like the farmers are like, oh, we're just the farmers, but there's a light star there. Yeah, just crazy. It's like, you have the technology to have a big light star. You don't have some robots that can do the farming. They're just humble farmers. They just want to do it themselves. They want to get the dirt on their hands. I can respect that. As a man who doesn't like to farm, do work, or really do anything except for watch Wheel of Time, I respect that. And the last thing I want to discuss is that we get the kind of origin story of the Way of the Leaf and the Aiel turning into the warrior badasses we know. And it comes because Rand's ancestor, like his sister, was getting killed, and hopefully not, but probably raped, and just awful stuff was happening to her by some bandits, and he goes and he kills the bandits and saves her life. And then the mum's like, you fucking suck, Rand. How dare you kill those bandits who are raping and gonna murder your sister? No good. I lost my mind. I was like, this mum's out of control. This Way of the Leaf thing has gone too far. You're in a Game of Thrones type universe where everything's awful and people are pillaging and just doing bad things all the time. I don't know. I feel like it's as justified a killing as a killing can be justified is when that happens. I'm like, I don't know, man. He went in like they didn't bring weapons. They're just like, let's go. I also found that very funny. It's like, why did the Aiel do that before battle? Because Rand did that once. Or Rand's ancestor did that. He's like, let's go sneaky style. And they do it to cover their faces. And so it's like, in that context, it makes sense to do that. Every battle, though, I feel like it'd stop your breathing. It'd be like kind of hot. Like, I don't know. Like in the desert, for sure, maybe. I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting wrinkle to the origin story. The origin story was really interesting and cool. And I like the divide. We're like, well, you could totally be on the Way of the Leaf side. But I feel like the Aiel turning into warriors because of this thing that happened, this split, this divide, this cultural thing. I think it's really interesting, and I kind of feel like I'm on the Aiel side. Like, I don't know. I was given all the information, and I don't think he did a bad thing. Not enough to be banished, It's just kind of interesting, but it's like that's how gung-ho they were to be Way of the Leafers. They're like, no murder, even if you're saving your sister's life. That's crazy to me. I'm never going to kill anybody. You try and kill my brother, I'll kill you. So, like, I don't know. It's like, I'd never hurt anybody. But then if someone really tried to hurt my brother, you're going to die. I'm going to bloody Aiel all over your face. That didn't sound right. Uber fascinating, thoroughly interesting lore, and just like really exciting to have Rand kind of be this little surrogate to tell these stories. And this, like, as we go through the times, he's the old man, he's like, help me pull the cart, my son. They're pulling the big cart, and the son's like pulling the cart. He's like, am I helping, father? And he's like, not at all, son, push harder. So yeah, some delightful flashbacks. All of it was good stuff. But I feel like the Way of the Leaf, Aiel kind of origin story and the split of the cultures, I do think it kind of feels like when you get an origin story, like a prequel of like a character with like, did you want to find out how Han Solo got his gun? No, I didn't. And then someone's just like, here's your gun, Han Solo. He just like throws it to him. He was like, thanks, Woody Harrelson. Cool. That was what this bit felt like. Where I'm like, oh yeah, just feels like I didn't need to know how Aiel got their hats or whatever. But I did like how they got their spears. So I'm contradicting myself. I'm all over the place. No, I didn't even hate it. I just feel that it was just comical. I don't know. I loved it though. The spear thing was very interesting though, because it's like, that's why they have to use spears. Because they think it's a tool and it can be a weapon, whereas the sword is just a weapon. And whilst I, as I mentioned earlier, disagree, I think a sword can be a tool as well, if you're forced to use it as a tool. Maybe not the most practical tool, but still a tool. Yeah, I disagree fundamentally with their beliefs, and I am not afraid to say it. Why? Because they're fictional, and I can't get cancelled for that. Right? I would like to make a formal apology to any Aiel that are listening. I did not mean to belittle your beliefs or your traditions. I respect all people's beliefs and all people's religions, even if I don't understand or believe in them myself. I respect that you believe in them. Any Aiel listener listening, I am deeply sorry, and please do not let my words stop you from giving a like, subscribing, commenting below. What did you think about this episode of Wheel of Time? I would love to know.